You know what? We need to stop calling this public service. We need to stop calling it emergency communications because for most people in this hobby, that's not what it is anymore. Let's talk about the details. Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to Ham Shack TV. I'm your host, Josh AA4WX. Appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Certainly helps the channel grow. And also leave a comment down below on what we're about to talk about. You know, somewhere along the way, ham radio built this identity. We're the backup when everything else fails. We're the last line of communications. We're the ones who step up when disaster hits. That sounds great. It also sounds a lot better than reality. Because if we're being honest, most operators aren't doing that. They're not training. They're not deploying. They're not even listening half the time. They're just playing radio. And there's nothing wrong with that. Until we start pretending is something more. Now, this is a big deal, and I harp on emergency comms quite a bit. So let's just call it straight. If a major disaster hits your area tonight, how many operators are actually ready? Not licensed, but ready. Do they have a go kit built? Do they have their frequencies programmed? Is their local plan understood? Do they actually know how to pass traffic? Be honest, because the reality is most hams couldn't deploy in 10 minutes if they had to. But we still keep selling this image like we're all standing by ready to save the day. That gap, that's the problem. That is a significant problem. So let's talk about what the hobby really looks like today. Rag chewing on repeaters, chasing contacts on HF, parks on the air. Everybody loves POTA. Digital modes, building antennas, you know, the list goes on and on. We're playing with gear. That's the real heartbeat of ham radio in 2026, not emergency response. And again, there's nothing wrong with any of that. That's what hobbies look like. But we've got to stop acting like the average operator is out there doing life-saving comms. Think about it. Let's talk about weather, because most of the time your disasters that people think ham radio is going to be called up for is weather. Most of the time, the deadly thing has already came and gone. Most of the time. Let's say it's a tornado. I'm not saying your ham radio is not going to save lives. I'm not saying that. But a lot of times it's recovery mode more than rescue mode. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong about that. But there are so many hams out there that have the holier than thou attitude that, oh Lord, amateur radio is here to save the day and save lives. When a lot of EOCs don't want anything to do with ham radio. Why? Because of badge wearers. Y'all know my thing about wearing badges. Do not wear a badge that has not been given to you by your emergency management. But I digress. Now, here's why this matters. And this is why this starts to hurt the hobby. When a new person looks at ham radio, what do they see? Emergency communications, disaster response, public service. That's the sales pitch. But when they actually get in, they find a bunch of guys talking about antennas, radios, and signal reports. That disconnect may kill some interest because people didn't sign up to be misled. They signed up for what they were told this was. And speaking of what ham radio actually is today, that's exactly why platforms like World Radio League are starting to take off. Because whether people want to admit it or not, a huge part of modern ham radio is operating, logging contacts, tracking activity, and actually using your station. World Radio League leans into that. It's clean, it's modern looking. You're not going to be calling Bill Gates to come get your Windows 95 looking program off your computer. This is modern, folks. This is sleek. It looks great. It tracks your activity automatically, gives you the real picture of how much you're actually on the air. No fluff, no pretending, just real operating. And if you haven't checked it out yet, you probably should. The link is down in the description. Go to worldradioleague.com. It's free to try. You can get a free account, no problem whatsoever. But they do have some great premium services involved in that, including log importing and things like that. And if you use my coupon code HamShackTV, you're going to get 10% off their paid monthly membership. So go check them out, worldradioleague.com, and coupon code HamShackTV for 10% off. Now let's get back into the content here. Ham radio, I have long said, has an identity problem, folks. An identity problem. We don't know what we want to be anymore. The question is, are we a public service? Are we a technical hobby? Are we a social community? Are we a backup communication system? The answer is yes, 100% yes, all of the above. But people aren't actually doing most of it. We keep leading with the one thing that most people aren't doing, and that is MCOM. And that's hurting the credibility. It is. Here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. Ham radio is a hobby first. Folks, you're not joining the damn rescue squad. You're not joining the rescue squad. You're not joining the National Guard. You're joining a hobby that happens to have some emergency services involved in it. So don't go get your ham radio license, hamradioprep.com. Use coupon code HamShackTV. Don't go get your ham radio license thinking that you're going to become a hero. Because first and foremost, this is a hobby, and it always will be. You're never getting paid for ham radio, that's for sure, but it is a hobby. Emergency communications is a capability, not the daily reality. I've been a ham now for 16 years. How many times have we been called up for MCOM, especially disaster response? Zero. Bike races? Yep, there's bike races all the time, and Aries and Races and all those get called up for that. But for a disaster response, never. Now, Skywarn is prominently used. We've built a strong reputation in my area with Skywarn. May not be the same in your area, but we have here. You're never getting paid for ham radio. So if we're honest about that, we'd probably attract more people because hobbies are fun. That's what we need to be telling people when we ask them to sign up for ham radio. When we ask them to go pull all-nighters to get their ham radio license on hamradioprep.com, that this is a fun hobby. If you want to be a rescuer, go join the rescue squad. Go join the fire department. Go join the sheriff's department reserves. Go join the dive team. Ham radio is not the place for you to expect to be Dudley Do-Right and come out and become a hero. There may be opportunities for you to be a hero. I'm not going to deny that. That could possibly happen. But that shouldn't be why you join this hobby. Hobbies are fun. And in our hobby, we do a lot of experimentation. Experimentation is fun. Learning radio is fun. Pretending you're on standby for the apocalypse, that only works if you actually are. So maybe it's time we need to stop overselling this thing and call it what it actually is: a hobby, a very powerful one, a very useful one, a technical one. But again, still just a hobby. And if we did that, we might actually grow some more. So now I want to hear from you. I love getting feedback from my viewers, and you'll tell me if I'm wrong. You'll chew me out. Do you actually agree with this? Do you actually agree with my thought, or am I completely off base? Drop it down in the comments, because this one's going to divide people, and that's actually the point. Guys, go check out World Radio League. We appreciate their support of Ham Shack TV. Coupon code HamShackTV. Get you 10% off their already great prices. Folks, we'll see you in the next video. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. We'll see you soon. 73 A84WX WSCB 693.